this is MK and I welcome you all to my YouTube channel Physical Universe with Zero. For update of my upcoming videos, please subscribe my channel and press the bell icon button. Let us now start with our today's topic of discussion, which is 4 operations to solve vector based questions. So operation to do with a vector during numerical problems. In this video we will learn about some helpful operations that can be performed with vectors when you are solving numerical problems based on vectors. These operations are the most used while solving a vector problem. Let us now discuss one by one in detail about all of these operations. So our first operation is adding or subtracting two or more vectors. During solution of a problem, any number of vectors can be added or subtracted with each other, but only if all of them are representing the same vector quantity, which means if two vectors are representing velocity, then you can add them. If two vectors are representing acceleration, then you can add them. But if one vector is velocity and another is acceleration, then you cannot add or subtract them. For example, let us consider two vectors v1 and v2, which are velocity, and another two vectors a1 and a2, which are representing acceleration of two cars, say car 1 and car 2 respectively. So now, as you know that velocity and acceleration both are vector quantities, let us see how can we add v1, v2, a1 and a2 with each other. So here, since v1 and v2 both are velocity, so simply you can add them, which means v1 plus v2 is correct operation, as both v1 and v2 are velocity, so you can add them together. Similarly, operation a1 plus a2 is also valid or correct, as a1 and a2 both are acceleration, so you can simply add a1 with a2. But adding v1 with a1 is wrong, as v1 is velocity and a1 is acceleration, mean both are not same physical quantities, thus we cannot add them together. Similarly, addition of v2 with a2 or v1 with a2 or v2 with a1 or v1 and v2 with a1 or v1 and v2 with a1 and a2, all of these operations are wrong, which means you cannot perform these because these operations include two or more than two different physical quantities, so you cannot simply add them. While adding or subtracting vectors, you have to keep in your mind that similar adds with similar or subtract with similar, means if all the vectors are same, then you can simply add them. If they are different, you cannot add them. So note, same rule is used in case of subtraction of two or more vectors, as we have seen in a case of addition of vectors. So let us now move towards our next operation. Before moving to our next operation, you have to keep in your mind that in my next video I will discuss in detail about different methods of addition and subtraction of two or more vectors. So our second operation is shifting a vector in a plane, which means simply you can shift a vector in a plane anywhere as you want. A vector can be represented by a straight arrow, as you have studied in our previous video. Any vector which is represented by an arrow can be shifted to any new position in a plane, say xy plane, or even in three-dimensional space. This operation will be correct only if you are not changing the orientation as well as the length of that vector which is being displaced in plane. So it means that you can use this operation only if you are not changing the direction as well as the length of the arrow. Only then this operation will be valid, otherwise this operation will be invalid. So in this way you can bring your vector to any desired place where it will ease to solve your problem. So you can shift your vector from first quadrant to second quadrant to third quadrant, or third quadrant to fourth quadrant of xy plane, or even vice versa. Let us now see this operation with an example. So here we are taking v1, a vector. So initially our v1 vector is in second quadrant. So in second quadrant you can see it is written original or initial position. Here the vector is shown by red arrow, and this is v1. So now we are going to shift this vector to first quadrant. So here it is written first. So you can see that in first quadrant there is another red arrow. So this is parallel to our initial or original vector which was in second quadrant, as well as its length is also same. So you can see that the initial vector which is in second quadrant and our shifted vector which is in first quadrant both have same direction and same length. So this operation is correct. Similarly, you can see that our original vector or initial vector can be also shifted to fourth quadrant which is written as second. So second we are shifting our initial vector to the fourth quadrant. So you can see that the vector shown in fourth quadrant has same direction and length as the vector shown in our second quadrant. So this is also a correct or valid operation, which means you can shift this vector from second quadrant to fourth quadrant in this way. But you can see that in third quadrant the vector which is shown by red arrow has a different direction, or you can say that the vector which is in third quadrant is not parallel to the initial or original vector which is in second quadrant. So this is a wrong operation, which means you cannot shift vector in this way from second to third quadrant. Let us now move towards our next point, which is third point, inverting the direction of a vector. During the solution of a problem related to vector quantity, you can invert the direction of any vector. If you will invert the direction of a vector, then you will get a new vector which will have the same magnitude but opposite direction, and the new inverted vector is called opposite vector of the previous one and is shown with a negative sign or represented with a negative sign. If your initial vector was v1, then the new inverted vector will be minus v1. While using this operation, always keep in mind that you only have to change or invert the direction of arrow and not the length of arrow. It means that the length of arrow should not change at any cost. Let us see an example of this operation by taking vector v1. So here again you can see that our initial vector, which is v1, is initially in second quadrant. Now we are inverting this vector. So in first quadrant you can see that the vector which is shown by yellow has the same length as the vector which is shown in second quadrant, but it has opposite direction. The arrow of the vector which is in first quadrant has just an opposite direction to the vector which is in our second quadrant. So this operation is valid or correct, as the direction of the vector is only inverted but the length is unchanged. So simply your new vector which is in first quadrant, you can write this will be equal to minus v1. So your initial vector was v1 in second quadrant and your inverted vector is minus v1, which is shown in first quadrant. Similarly, let us see another inverted vector which is represented in fourth quadrant. Here you can see that the inverted vector in fourth quadrant does not have the same length as our initial vector. That is why the vector which is inverted and is shown in fourth quadrant is not equal to minus v1, which means this vector which is in fourth quadrant, this is not an inverted vector of our initial vector. Let us now move towards our next point, which is resolving or breaking a vector into different components or parts. To simplify your problem that is based on vectors, you can also resolve or break any given vector into any number of parts or components according to your need, which means that you can simply break any vector to any number of parts by using some specific rules. After my next video, I will discuss about this method in detail.
I hope this video will help you to improve your interest and understandings of physics. If you have any question or confusion regarding any topic of physics, please tell me in comment box below this video and I will try to help you in my next video as soon as possible. To support, please subscribe my channel and share this video link. Thank you and have a nice day.